A butter tart is a type of small pastry tart highly regarded in Canadian cuisine and considered one of Canada's quintessential desserts. The tart consists of butter, sugar, syrup, and egg filled into a flaky pastry and baked until the filling is semi-solid with a crunchy top. The butter tart should not be confused with butter pie or with bread and butter pudding. Recipes for the butter tart vary according to the families baking them. Because of this, the appearance and physical characteristics of the butter tart the firmness of its pastry, or the consistency of its filling also varies. In general, the English-Canadian tart consists of butter, sugar, and eggs in a pastry shell, similar to the French-Canadian sugar pie, or the base of the U.S. pecan pie without the nut topping. The butter tart is different from pecan pie in that it has a runnier filling due to the omission of cornstarch. Raisins are in the traditional butter tart, but walnuts, or pecans are commonly added. However, purists contend that such additions should not be allowed. Other additional ingredients may include currants, coconut, dates, butterscotch, chocolate chips, peanut butter, maple syrup or chai. History: butter tarts were common in pioneer Canadian cooking, and they remain a characteristic pastry of Canada, considered one of only a few recipes of genuinely Canadian origin. It is primarily eaten and associated with the English-speaking provinces of Canada. However, the origins of the tart, its name, and its recipe are unclear. Some suggested pastries with similar origins to the butter tart include sugar pie, which possibly came with the arrival of the King's Daughters Filles du Roi in Quebec during the 1600s, where the imported brides used maple syrup, butter and dried fruit to make a possible precursor to modern examples of the butter tart. Pecan pie, which possibly came north from the southern United States, backwoods pie, which is found in the Maritimes and western Canada and made with corn syrup, souffle pie, which is made with molasses and comes from the Pennsylvania Dutch community, treacle tart, which is an English pastry made with golden syrup or treacle. The earliest published Canadian recipe is from Barrie, Ontario, dating back to 1900 and can be found in the Women unregistered trademark S auxiliary of the Royal Victoria Hospital Cookbook. Another early publication of a butter tart recipe was found in a 1915 pie cookbook. The food was an integral part of early Canadian cuisine and often viewed as a source of pride. Similar tarts are made in Scotland, where they are often referred to as Ecclefechan butter tarts from the town of Ecclefechan. In France, they are related to the much more common tarte à la frangipane, that differs from the basic Canadian recipe only by the addition of ground almonds. Cultural identity: butter tarts are an integral part of Eastern Canadian cuisine and are objects of cultural pride of many communities across Ontario and indeed Canada. This cultural and community connection with the tart has spawned butter tart-themed tourism such as the Butter Tart Festival at Muskoka Lakes, Ontario, the trademarked Butter Tart Trail at Wellington North, Ontario and the Butter Tart Tour in Cowithers, Northumberland, Ontario. The two competing associations have since resolved their dispute through the mutual agreement to modify the Butter Tart Tour to Cowithers Northumberland Butter Tart Tour. The first Cowithers Northumberland Butter Tart Tour taste-off was launched at the Flavour Festival in Peterborough on Sunday, April 28, 2013, where 4 bakeries were crowned winners by a panel of celebrity judges. This panel of 7 tasters ranked more traditional plain and raisin butter tarts, and specialty butter tarts that included ingredients like maple syrup, bacon, chocolate and raspberry. The group of judges each expressed their own preference about whether the quintessential butter tart should be firm or runny, with raisins or without with the final decision evenly split. In the end, 4 locations were dubbed favourites in 5 categories, as determined by the judges and public polling: Best Crust Country Mud in Buckhorn. Best Filling Do unregistered trademark S Bakery in Baileyborough. Best Speciality Butter Tart Do unregistered trademark S in Baleborough. Fiopli unregistered trademark S Choice Cravings Bakery in Peterborough. And Best Overall Better unregistered trademark S Pies and Tarts in Port Hope. Subsequently, the first Ontario's Best Butter Tart Festival and Contest was held in June 2013 in Midland, Ontario. The contest portion of the festival had 80 entrants in 2013. The top winners were Nancy Dillon of Barry, Elaine Martin of Midland, Laurie Gaudet of Orillia, Jim Downer of Midland and Kathy McHugh of Orillia. The second Ontario's Best Butter Tart Festival and Contest will once again be held in Midland, in June 2014. Even National Geographic recognises the significance of the butter tart in an article on Georgian Bay, Ontario in October 2013. They pointed out that it's the homemade Canadian butter tarts a flaky crust with gooey pecan filling that set this place apart from other lakeside ice cream stands. Nutritional information. A typical recipe of butter tarts has the following nutrition facts per serving: calories 577, total fat 25.2, cholesterol 60, carbohydrates 84, protein 6.4, adds up to more than the 100 g serving size requires correction. See also: List of butter dishes, references. External links: CBC radio programme on butter tarts, Scottish recipe at Scotland for visitors, Canadian butter tart recipe from the BBC Good Food magazine, Shelley Posen on butter tarts, 1.